veterans on the stage, yourselves, and everyone in this room, and be present and in the moment. So present in the moment is how you're here, and not somewhere else, meaning with a video or whatever, earbud, or any such thing like that. So thank you. So, hold on one second. So, good morning again. So the purpose of us being here, what is the purpose of us being here today? The purpose of us to be here is to honor veterans. Here you have some veterans on the stage. So to start our presentation, we will have JRTC present the colors. So could you please stand up for the presentation of colors and Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's go. March. Colors. Oh. Left. Face. Present. Arms.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Forward. Arms. Right. Face. Forward. Arch. Forward. Arms.
Thank you. Please be seated. Except for our two other veterans who are here, Mr. Stone and, I don't want to massacre your last name. No, it is Sergeant Major Almeida. Almeida, come up on the stage. No?
See, I'm not old.
Okay, so just in case, so what is a veteran? So what are all these individuals on the stage besides me? A veteran, whether active duty, discharged, retired, or reserve, is someone who at one point in their life wrote a blank check. So I know this is probably dating because even my own department, they make fun of me for checks or not Venmoing, and you guys are a Venmo generation, so it'd be like giving total access to your Venmo accounts. So a blank check would be similar to that. A blank check, you're giving everything, and the check is made payable, or the Venmo account goes purely to the United States of America for amounts up to and including their life. That's what they did. That is an honor, and they're always that's an honor. Many people in this country don't understand it, but these are people who are willing to sacrifice. Sacrifice what? Every single thing, including their life, for another, for all of you in here. That's what a veteran does. They give up their life, and there's no guarantee what will happen while they serve. Okay, so right now we're going to introduce each of our veterans before a reading of the history of Veterans Day. So, introduction to each one of our veterans. We'll just start with the okay, start with this. Oh, I think that's the farthest goes. Okay, so come on. Don't be shy. Me? Yeah.
All right, so most of you know me probably as Mr. Stone, but in my other life I am Captain Stone. I'm an infantry officer currently serving in the Army National Guard.
Hi, I'm Command Sergeant Major Almeida. Everybody knows me as Sergeant Major here. I am retired from the Army after 41 years between active duty and reserves. Served 2 tours in Iraq. I'm still here. Thank God, God up there is looking out for me. I'm honored to serve my nation. I was just like you at one time, and I said, what am I going to do with my life? I'm getting homesick, not homesick. I was like some of you, Mom and Dad is always picking on you. And what did I do when I was 18? Join the military. Here I am, okay? But anyway, it's been a great ride, and I have a great opportunity to interact and learn from you a lot. Believe it or not, I do learn from my students. They don't know it, but I do. But I also like to give back, and that's why I'm here to give back to you guys. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Mr. Ng. Like Captain Stone, I'm in the Connecticut National Guard. I'm a first lieutenant and I am an intelligence officer. What that means, who knows?
Good morning. Alan Sosnowitz, Army Sergeant, 4th Infantry Division. I served in Vietnam during 1968 and 1969.
Good morning. My name is Bill Bear. I served in the Army Reserve from 1987 to 2013.
Good morning, good morning. Rich Olson, most of you know me as Mr. Olson, the substitute. I served in the U.S. Army 3 years at Fort Belvoir, Virginia. It's great to be here today. Our youth are the leaders of tomorrow, so it's great to see you. Thank you very much.
Korean War veteran, stood up over in North Korea for 1 year, and just to give you a little idea of it, was 40, 45 below zero weather there in the winter time, and 117 in the summertime, and we had the monsoon rains for 4 or 5 months out of the year. So that was nice, wasn't it? Thank you.
I'm Walter Koopman. I worked with the Navy in the old on the roof gang, otherwise known as CTs. We were the ones that were responsible to prevent Midway from being taken by the Japanese in 1942. I served from 1964 until 1988 for 25 years straight, and I go back in a heartbeat now.
Good morning, my name is Alan Gerard. I'm a Navy veteran, spent 30 years in the Navy, active duty and reserve. While I was active duty, I deployed around the world on aircraft carriers, and as a reservist, I also deployed to Kuwait and Afghanistan. But most importantly, I'm a Westhill graduate, sat in the same seats you're sitting now. Go Vikings.
My name is Thomas Patterson. I'm a United States Army veteran, proud 25th Infantry Division, Tropic Lightning Corps. I was just like you guys, but actually I wasn't. I was out of school in 2 years figuring what I was going to do with myself. There was a war going on. I joined the Army in 1991 during Desert Storm. I didn't go over to the desert, but I joined, and it was a good time, the 4 years that I had in, and I came home. Thank God, made a life for myself, family, but when I look at you kids, I look at where I was at one time, and the military is a good thing if you think about it in the future. Cool.
My name is Tommy Finn. I did 32 years in the military, both active and reserve. I saw a lot of stuff. Joined the military for the adventure, and saw a lot of countries. talk about minus 19 here and then going over and 140 over there. It was the best reality TV show ever. I mean, great experiences, great experience. I'm most grateful for the education that the military gave me, put me through college, put my children through college. So, have 3 great kids that graduated from the school. I love the Vikings. They made us so proud. So use every opportunity out there to make the best of yourself.
Just to put again it in context, we're going to have 2 students read about the history of Veterans Day.
Okay, so the history of Veterans Day. Veterans Day originated as Armistice Day on November 11, 1990, the first anniversary of the end of World War I. Armistice Day officially received its name in America in 1926 through a congressional resolution to have it as an annual observance. It became a national holiday 12 years later in 1938 by a similar congressional action. If the idealistic hope had been realized that World War I was the war to end all wars, November 11th might still be called Armistice Day. But only a few years after the holiday was proclaimed, war broke out in Europe. 16.5 million Americans took part. 407,000 of them died in service, more than 292,000 of them in battle.
Realizing that peace was equally preserved by veterans of World War II and Korea, Congress was requested to make this day an occasion to honor those who have served America in all wars. In 1954, President Eisenhower signed a bill proclaiming November 11th as Veterans Day.
Veterans Day is not to be confused with Memorial Day, a common misunderstanding according to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Memorial Day, the 4th Monday in May, honors American service members who died in service to their country or as a result of injuries occurring during battle, while Veterans Day pays tribute to all American veterans, living or dead, but especially gives thanks to living veterans who served their country honorably during war and peacetime.
U.S. Merchant Marines, Navy, Marines, Army, or Air Force, they are among our nation's finest citizens. They are individuals who reflect the spirit of patriotism. These are individuals whose lives embody service and responsibility. On Veterans Day, November 11th, we honor their solemn pledge to defend our freedom. We thank them for their example of service and sacrifice, and we pledge to uphold their legacy by remembering the important role they played in all our lives. This just gives you some context as far as how many people served when. So right now, the most veterans who are alive, they represent veterans who served during the Gulf War period. Today, there's approximately 1.4 million active military personnel and reserve personnel of almost 800,000. So the unity that is America springs from one cause, freedom. Generation after generation, as you see, there's several different generations on the stage, Americans have stepped forward to defend our freedom and to preserve the founding principles of our great nation.
Grandpa, something wrong?
Some people sure have short memories, and those who are too young to know need to be taught. Come on, I want to show you guys something.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval air forces of the Empire of Japan.
At dawn on the morning of the 6th of June, 1944, 225 Rangers jumped off the British landing craft and ran to the bottom of these cliffs. 225 came here. After 2 days of fighting, only 90 could still bear arms. These are the boys of Pointe du Hope. These are the men who took the cliffs. These are the champions who helped free a continent. These are the heroes who helped end a war. You are men who in your, quote, lives fought for life and left the vivid air signed with your honor.
In the name of God and country, I learned to defy gravity. To honor my family, I lived in the belly of a beast.
I fixed the hearts of iron monsters. I became a worm in the mud for dignity, for honor, for righteousness' sake, for God and country.
I fought for you.
I fought for you. For you. I fought for you.
I fought for you.
I fought for you.
I fought for you.
For you.
For you. For you.
For you. I fought for you.
I fought for you. I fought for you, and I do it again.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
So before we go to the veterans on the stage, let's just see. So a little bit audience participation. So if maybe you have a sibling. Does anyone in the auditorium right now, have a sibling who's currently serving in the military? Anyone? No? How about a parent? Anyone's parents? Stand up. Thank you. So their parents. So just to recognize that when a person is a veteran, it not only affects the veteran, but also affects their family too. So they deserve a round just for How about an aunt or uncle, just say standing, aunt or uncle who has served in the military? How about, does anyone know a grandparent that served in the military? Grandparents served in the military, yep. Grandparent. So now that not only like for you to know, but if you're lucky enough that they're still with us here, just take on Saturday is Veterans Day, maybe take some time to speak with your family member, if they're willing to, or at least thank them for their service to our country that's serving not just you, but all of us. So thank you. Okay, now question and answer time. So we'll just start with the first question of why? Why did you join the military? So you have different ages, different time periods, different branches. Why did you decide to join the military? And whoever would like to go first, you just raise your hand. Yeah, this one's short, so you have to come closer. Oh, you're gonna, okay.
So that's a great question. As I mentioned in my introduction, is that the reality, the reason I joined the Army is that I had a cousin that also had joined the Army. And my goal was to become a police officer in Danbury. And the only way at the time, when I graduated, the only way you could become a police officer is you had to be 21 years old, and most of the police officers in Danbury were Vietnam veterans. So I felt that the only another reason for me to leave home, besides my mom was driving me crazy, but the reality is I decided that I wanted to become a police officer. So I joined the Army, and I joined the military police in the Army. I've been fortunate, unfortunate, depending on what it is. Doing my 3 years in Germany, I had the opportunity, unknown until he was arrested here in the United States, to arrest Jeffrey Dahmer. So, again, the military has given me a great opportunities, education, knowledge, leadership. My successes has been being in the military. So I joined the Army to become a police officer. Eventually, I never became a police officer, but eventually, after I got my bachelor's degree, after coming back from Germany, I ended up getting hired as a criminal investigator for the state of Connecticut in the court system, which I did 25 years with the state, and I was honored to also serve and work on many criminal cases here in Connecticut. So that's why I joined the Army.
Someone else? Did anyone not choose? It chose you. No.
I was drafted.
Okay.
That's it.
Oh, that's it? Okay, so drafting. So just a public service announcement. If you are 18 years old, and a male, you have to sign up for something called selective services. If, unlikely, knock on wood, event that there's ever a draft, that's like the record of everyone. So draft is forced military service. You don't have a choice. So how about someone else with a choice? Yep.
I joined the military. I did ROTC in school, and I did it to get money to help pay for school. And looking back on it, I think it's one of the best decisions I ever made.
Thank you.
I joined the military because I didn't like the circumstances that I was dealt with growing up in a very bad environment, very rough, poverty, despair, and it was no hope. And I just wanted to find a way where I could learn something new to get out and change my environment and do something productive in society with myself. And that was the reason why I joined the military, and it changed my whole life today.
Anyone else would like to say why they joined? They're just like you. Did you ask a question? It's like, okay, so I'll move on to the next question.
Thank you very much. I graduated high school in 1970 from the Tech School's machine drafting. There was a draft going on at that time. I found out later that I would have been called up, But I made the decision. I was up at Norwalk State Tech College one year. I said, you know what? I'm going to make the decision. This way I have a choice of where to go, what to learn, and I don't regret it. The military taught me quite a lot. Actually, they made me the teacher that I became. I taught tech 31 years, machine drafting, besides working in industry. Retired from that, and then I'm helping out Stamford Public Schools. But the point is, the training is the best. I more or less enlisted because of the times. Vietnam didn't wind down until 1975. I graduated high school in 1970. I went in the U.S. Army in 1971. I served to 1974. So I don't regret anything. I was lucky. Some people didn't have a good experience. I did. And I don't know what else to say. Thank you very much.
Okay, how about the question of, so you could join, there's various branches of the military. Each of you chose a branch. So how about, would someone like to say what made them choose the branch that they served in?
Well, I did Army ROTC at school because that's the only ROTC that was offered. Explain ROTC. So, ROTC is Reserve Officer Training Corps. It's a way to get a commission into the military. There's 3 ways to do it. There's a direct commission, West Point, or ROTC. It's a program within many colleges and universities where you take military science classes, and then when you graduate college, you get a commission into the military, as well as your bachelor's degree.
Anyone else? Why did you pick the branch you picked?
I picked the Navy over all the others for the simple reason that my brother-in-law, my late brother-in-law, and my brother both were in the Navy, one during the latter part of World War II, and my brother served in the Atlantic Fleet during the Korean War. And I was brought up to respect the Navy through them. So when I got out of high school, 2 weeks later, I was in the Navy. And out of the Navy, the 25 years I was in, I spent 19 years overseas and 6 years in the United States. And I do it in a heartbeat. And the crazy part was, after I enlisted, while the draft was still going on, 2 years after I enlisted, I got notified I was drafted. Needless to say, my commanding officer, when I gave him the telegram, he was a little bit upset. But I do it in a heartbeat again. I enjoyed the Navy. I basically was a landlocked sailor. My job was cryptology. I was in charge of the Western Union portion of it. We sent the messages back and forth. But I do it in a heartbeat. Today, they're now part of the National Cyber Force out of NSA. So I'd even go with them now.
If you're unfamiliar with Western Union, that would be like modern day Snapchat.
All right, so first of all, I'd like to say there are some great jobs in the military. So I graduated from college, needed a job, didn't really want to be an engineer, even though I had an engineering degree, but I wanted to fly airplanes. So I went to the Air Force first. They had no flight slots. Somehow I ended up with the Navy. They offered me a job. So I never really thought I'd be in the Navy flying airplanes, but that's what I did. So it was a little bit of luck. But that's how I ended up in the Navy. It was a pretty good adventure. So it was a lot of fun. Now, you have to give up a few things when you join the military. You got to be where they tell you to be. You got to wake up when they tell you to wake up. You got to be here, be there. So you do have to give up a little bit of the freedoms maybe you have now out in the civilian world. But it was all worth it. It gave me a great skill, and now I apply that skill. I get to fly airplanes commercially. So military offers great jobs, great skills. Doesn't matter how long you stay in. You can use those skills later on in life, and if you want to go to college later on, provides money for college. I'm using my benefits for my kids. So Some great benefits. You do have to give up a few things, but if you join, you can have a great adventure and learn a great skill. Thanks.
I was working for the railroad, and the Army came and knocked on my door, and they said, hey, we need people to move our trains. So I'm like, no, I don't need a job, thank you. But when they sat down, it was like buying a used car. The benefits they're not bad. And I was at a point in my life when I needed change, a direction, a new direction. And everybody, I think, said it up here. The military gave me an opportunity to do things that I would never have done if I didn't choose them. Like I said, I had to hit over 30 countries in my career. My best friends come from the military. Nothing against my neighbors or high school or college friends, but the bonds you make, great, and they never go away.
Okay, so oftentimes people think sometimes serving the military, the hardships that people endure while they're serving the military. Does anyone have a humorous story or something funny that happened while they were serving that they'd like to share with the group?
I don't know if this is humorous, but when I was in high school, I joined the Army first it was the Navy, backtrack. I took a test, I was just playing around one day. Didn't score so high. So then the Marines wanted to say, hey, well, you can come in and you can do infantry. And I was like, nope. So I went a year later, said, what the hell, a recruiter came and approached me from the Army. He said, go ahead and take the test again. I took it, passed the test, and how many of you familiar with Star Trek? Okay. I'm going to backtrack to what Alan was talking about with the jobs. Great jobs. Well, it's kind of humorous in a way, but the job I did today is kind of considered, they reclassified as utility specialist. The reason why I say Star Trek, when Captain Kirk says, Scotty, I need more war. Basically, my job was we were kind of like engineers and mechanics. You were like Johnny on the spot. Something broke, you had to fix it, and you had to fix it real quick. Because in the time of the heat of battle or in the time of peace or war or whatever, the military is not just about going out there shooting people, killing in war. You can learn a job that you can be productive in society. So, whether it's being a mechanic, engineer, whatever. But anyway, the humorous story is one day I got a speeding ticket. I was stationed out in Honolulu, Hawaii. So I had to go to court, lost the thing with the judge or whatever. So on my way back, me and one of my buddies was like, fellow soldier was like, I'm hungry. So we stopped at Pearl. Pearl Harbor was the Navy base where we were adjacent to the Army base, which was on the other side of the island. So we stopped at Pearl, and the JFK had just came in. And to my surprise, I was in the mess hall. I guess you guys call it the galley in the Navy. The Army, we call it the mess hall. And I looked up, and this guy looked up at me in a Navy uniform, and he drops his tray. And then another guy walks in a Marine uniform, and he says, oh, wow. Here it is, we're away from home. I'm in an Army uniform. The other guy's in a Navy uniform. The other guy's in a Marine uniform. Guess what? 2 years ago, we were all sitting in the same classroom together. Figure that. We're halfway around the world. And you run into some kids you went to school with in the same class. To me, I thought that was kind of humorous.
Anyone else?
I hit a lot of countries. One was Australia. And we were in Darwin Harbour, which is in Sydney. And there was a battleship dry docked there. And the gangplank was open. So I said to my battle buddy, hey, let's go up on the ship. He goes, well, actually, it was a she. She said, we can't just go up on a ship. I'm like, it's okay. We're American soldiers. So she said, okay, let's do it. So we got halfway up, There was nobody there, but we got halfway up, and then we were surrounded before we got up to the top by their security force with guns drawn, saying, "What the hell's going on?" And of course, what do I say? Like every American, it's okay. I'm an American. You had to be there.
Okay, so how about the question as, what is the greatest thing that you either learned from being in the military or your greatest feeling associated with having served or currently serving in the military?
I'll start with that. This is an important one to me. The greatest thing I got out of the military, I think I mentioned it before, was the bonds I built. But I look around, what I really learned is diversity, and especially today's military. It's not people like me anymore, you know. It's people like you. And when you're out there in the combat zone, you're relying on people to have your 180, your back, your side, and you don't care who it is. You just want to complete the mission and come home. So very proud. I learned how to work well with others for a reason, and I'm very proud of the American military for always leading the way when it comes to diversity for all. I don't fight for you, I fight with you. And we all have a main goal and mission that we want to accomplish, and we got to rely on one another. So I believe that what makes the American force better than any other force in the world, because it's all of us. It's not one of us, it's all of us. So.
Someone else?
All right, so for me, it was more about the challenge, to challenge myself to do something that I never thought I'd be doing. So, like landing on an aircraft carrier for the first time. And it's not like you have 2-3 years. You have a couple months to get it done, and you either complete it or you don't. And if you don't, then you go do something else. So for me, it was just a satisfaction of personally challenging myself, achieving that goal later on in life to be the aircraft commander, so I'm in charge of the airplane, so if anything happens to it, it falls on me. So it was really about, yes, there's all the other stuff, but just challenging myself, setting a goal for myself, and making it happen. And the military can set those goals for you and allow you to achieve. Thanks.
About, is there anything that you wish that civilians would understand about military life? Anything that stands out that you wish someone would know?
That's a good question. And I think that both myself and Major Weber kind of bring that out in the JROTC program. And with things that struggles and concerns that we have in our society today, good or bad, we need to start thinking about our being a good citizen. Okay, and the Army for me gave me the opportunity, just like some of the gentlemen said, to connect with the diversity. You know, being a Portuguese born, coming to this country, barely spoke English, and then within 4.5, 5 years, I'm joining the military. I went to boot camp in Alabama in the hot summer days. If you've ever been in Alabama, you can fry an egg on the blacktop. But the reality is I haven't been engaged with African Americans, and Latinos, and other. So that diversity, I learned a lot from it. I don't look at things as challenges, I look at things as opportunities. You know, things are out there in front of you, and it's how you use that opportunity to either gain success or failure. I failed numerous times through the military. It was those failures that made me a stronger leader and better person today. So today, you know, I go back and I live my life, and I've been living my life for a long time on my Army values, which there are 7 of them. One is loyalty, duty, respect. The best ingredient about respect is self-respect. You should be treated, and you should treat others with dignity and respect. We might not agree on certain things, but you need to respect me, and I respect you for your opinion. Okay? We're talking about selfless service. He's doing things out of free will without expecting something back. Okay? Your honor. The honor is living those values. Okay? Whatever values you have. Integrity. That's another issue too. Integrity. There's a lack of integrity in our nation today. I see a lot of it here in school. Okay? Integrity is doing the right thing ethically, morally, and legal. And being integrity and doing that thing when no one is looking at you. Okay? Personal courage. You got to fight that fear that you have inside of you. We're all afraid of something in life. And sometimes you have to meet that fear to be successful. So again, those opportunities that the military has given me, what the Army has given me, is my success to today. And just for the record for today, for you guys, if you guys don't know this, but yesterday was election day. I took my knowledge, my experience that I've had with the military, okay, and as a teacher here at Westhill High School, and I won the Board of Education position in Danbury, large numbers of votes. Why? Because the Army has given me that education, that opportunity to serve. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about us. And sometimes we forget. We forget our neighbors. Okay? And we got to take care of one another. So again, there's opportunities there for you. And they're not challenges. You make it a challenge. But if you look at the reverse side, it says, this is a great opportunity for me to advance and do things and take myself a long way. You'll get your reward. Okay? But the Army has given me great opportunities, and I'm on it. And you know what? Like some of us said, like Dr. Forbes says, being a veteran is a lot given up. You know, I gave up a lot of birthdays of my kids, a lot of anniversaries of my wife, and I missed a lot of things, okay, that you can never get back. The only reason that all of us decided to do this is because we don't want you to do the battle. We don't want you to fight for it. But there might be a time, like Dr. Forbes says, there might be a time that our nation is going to call on you to defend the colors right there. And then what really upsets me is that when I substitute around school, okay, is that a lot of our students don't even stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. And the question I have for you and your friends out there, what did that flag do to you? What did that flag do to you? Nothing. And some of us, like immigrants like myself, we came here, our families came here for a better life. Why? Because that flag represents freedom. And all of us here, we're willing to give our lives to protect the freedom that you have today on Snapchat and everything else. So, thank you.
What advice would anyone here give to someone who's considering joining the military? So if someone was considering joining the military, what would you say to them?
One thing that I would say to you is that if you're going to join the military, you got to do it because it's right for you and it's what you want. You can't do it because your parents want you to do it, your friends want you to do it. If you're going to join the military, you got to do it for you. And advice that I would give you is when you go into the military, get a skill that you can use outside to fall back on, looking at things that may happen in life. Say, for example, you want to get into the medical field, so you become an x-ray tech. And you get out of the military and now you're working at a hospital doing x-rays. Get some type of skill that you can use as a backup for anything in life, so you have something to fall back on.
Or not even think of it, as a backup, but something that you might be interested in after the military.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I tell my cadets, I don't want you to join my military. Am I right? I tell them, and I say, some of you should not join my military. Okay? But the reality is this. You, as a young man and young ladies, you have to start creating. I don't care what grade you're on. You have to start setting your goals for life. You might say, well, I don't know what I want to do. Yeah, you do have some idea. Okay? You have to have some goals. That's the only way we move forward. And when you have those goals, think about how it's going to, what's going to take you to get those goals, especially a long-term goal. When someone says to me, hey, I want to join the, Sergeant Major, I want to join the military. I said, okay, what do you want to do for life? What is the job that is going to look, you're going to be happy and working for the rest of your life? Okay? And some of you are like today, like, oh, I got to go to work after school. Like, listen, enjoy the high school because you're going to work for the rest of your life. Major Weber and I will say, come and talk to us if you want to talk, if you want to join the military. We're going to give you the right service that you can go to get, like he said, to get that experience so that when you come out of the military, you're more marketable. In other words, marketable being you're going to have a job probably better and quickly than somebody just graduated from college with the same degree. Why? Because you have experience, hands-on experience. You have leadership. You have self-esteem, self-discipline, drug-free, I hope. And other things going along that college does not teach you, especially the hands-on portion. So when you decide what your long-term goal is, what are you going to be when you become an adult, okay, and work for the rest of your life, then you look at it and say, does the military allow me that experience to do that? And most of the times they do. So I tell my students, leave the military at the bottom of your list, okay, at the bottom of your list. As you hear some of these gentlemen up here talk, some of us are struggling economically, come from a poor section of poverty. That was a way to get out and go. Every one of us has a story behind us. But what I would tell you is this. A lot of you look at the Marine Corps as deep service. Well, let me tell you a secret about the Marine Corps that a lot of people don't know. You sign up for the Marine Corps is going to tell you what you're going to do for them. You don't get to pick a job. You might wish list, but the Marine Corps is going to tell you what you want to do. Where the other services, okay, you can apply to be X-ray technician, you can be, believe it or not, a mortician, you can be whatever you want to be, okay? And if you're into electronics, I would tell you the Navy is the right place to go. Okay? But again, if you're considering of joining the military after high school, I encourage you to come and see me in room 13 or Major Weber in room 14. And we're going to guide you in the right direction. Thank you.
So is there anything anyone else wants to share before we finish up? So.
From my perspective, how many of you guys can take care of yourself without your parents? Because when you go in the military, you're on your own. You have, if you're enlisted, you have to wash your clothes hand by hand in boot camp. You don't have a laundromat. It's hand washing. You get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, march to the chow hall. Then you do your daily routine. When I enlisted, I found out that what you signed up for, you're not guaranteed to get. I applied for the Navy when I went in to be a radar technician because I wanted to work with radar at airports, be a traffic controller. When I got to boot camp, for some god darn unknown reason, they decided Because I wore glasses, I couldn't sit in front of a screen. It's funny, but computers, that's the same thing. So and from what I found out after I got out of boot camp, my own neighborhood didn't want to talk to me. Because the rating that I was given required a top secret clearance. And guess who came by and interrogated everybody in my neighborhood, in school, and anybody that knew me? Good old FBI, just to check on me. I found out that for some reason, I met the requirement that I could get a top secret clearance. And that's what I had for my whole life. And you learn things, how to take care of yourself. If you get married, you learn how to take care of yourself and take care of your family. For me, it was always country first, family second. I came in at the bottom of the pile. I had 5 kids I raised when I was in the service. And I'm proud of every one of them. And I taught them one simple thing. You gotta work for what you want. Know what you want. You go in the service, you get educational opportunities. If you're in the States, you can go to a community college or a regular college for courses. Or you can take correspondence courses, which I took. And when I was at 6 years in the Navy, I was promoted to the E6 or staff sergeant, and I taught over 400 kids and how to take care of themselves, how to do my job, and how to respect everybody in the service. I didn't care whether you were a Marine Corps, Army, Air Force, Coast Guard, whatever. We're all fellows in arms. We all have one job: defend our country. Because without us to defend you guys, you wouldn't have what you got now. Because we bailed most of Europe and Asia out in the last 100 years.
Anyone else, any final words for the group?
Go Army, beat Navy.
Graduate high school.
Okay, so we have one more reading.
Taps. The following was written by Major Weber. Many of you will recognize the melody of taps. Most people do not know the story behind taps or its meaning. Historically, in the military, a signal was given that the duty day was done. This signal was beat or tapped out on a drum. This method persisted until the American Civil War. Colonel Dan Butterfield was a soldier and a musician. He found the tapping signal on the drum to be ineffective. Ironically, Colonel Butterfield used the head of a drum as a table to compose a musical signal to be played on a bugle. Other units heard Colonel Butterfield's taps and adopted it. Soon it was officially adopted and replaced the drum signal. To this day, millions of American service men and women end their duty day to the sound of taps. Additionally, taps is sounded to render honors at memorial ceremonies. It is also sounded at military funerals to signal the end of the duty of a service member. As we conclude our program today with the sounding of taps, reflect upon the sacrifices of the millions of Americans who served their country, and the last honor, thanks for their service, was the playing of the bugle call.
I'd like to ask something of all of you for the veterans. Right now, we're losing a generation. The World War II veterans are dying faster now than they did in combat. The youngest ones, that were like 17 in 1945, are all in their late 90s. They're not going to be here much longer. If you want to hear firsthand from the guys and women that were there and did that, get the truth from them, not out of a book that you may not know the source of, go talk to them now while you can. They won't be here much longer. A lot of them are already in nursing homes, things like that, retirement homes and all. Some of them are lonely there. Go visit them and get firsthand what happened, what they did. And then you can pass that on, and they won't die forever.
Okay, please be seated. This concludes the end of our Veterans Day program. Please remember to thank a veteran when you see one. And thank you for your participation. And please give us all another round of applause. Besides my students, you can go with the teacher back to class.
I